Hey, this is Jason with Banna Properties. Today I want to talk to you about utilities on your Missouri land or real estate. So a question we often get asked when people buy our properties in the state of Missouri is, what about utilities? How do I find out or connect utilities? So I want to talk about a step-by-step process that you can use in order to discover, investigate, and even install utilities on your property. So the very first step would be to do a simple Google search. You can also reach out to the county offices and to try to find out who the local service providers are. So many rural counties in Missouri actually have local water districts. You could also find the power companies that usually cover regions, larger regions of Missouri, but contact the local utility company and inquire about connecting utilities to the vacant land. They're going to want to know your property's location, address, or even to see it on a map, because they have maps that show where they have the closest utilities, and therefore they will be able to orient you better in the connection process. So the second step, kind of connected to the first, is to determine the availability of services such as electric, water, natural gas in the area. And of course, as I mentioned, when you talk to the utility company, they're often going to be able to direct you in this once they know where your property is located. So once you've determined where the closest connection point is, what the process and payment process will be in order to get that work order to connect it, often you need to obtain any necessary permits or approvals from the local government agencies. So in order to do an improvement like utilities, you may need improvements. Another thing to keep in mind is if you have to bring the utilities from very far, like on a rural property, sometimes you'll need to get an easement if there isn't currently one from neighbors. Then you want to schedule a site visit with the utility companies once you've found all this information and gotten your permits. And you're going to have the utility provider come out, and they're going to assess the location and the layout of your property. And they're most likely going to give you recommendations as to the best location for the power pole or the water connection. The next step would be to complete any required forms. So the utility service providers almost always require that you fill out some forms to create that work order and to pay any necessary fees in order for you to initiate the utility connection process. There can also be a waiting period, so you want to make sure that you get this done ahead of time. Then coordinate with the utility company to have all necessary equipment and infrastructure installed on the property. It may have some requirements, particularly for things like water, in order to have a trench dug or somewhere to connect your property. Finally, once you supervise the installation process, you want to verify that all utilities have been successfully connected and that they're functioning properly. A final step here is to keep all necessary documentation and records for future reference. For yourself, if anything is needed, take pictures of the location and have a reference point. If you have a survey or a map, you can also keep a file of that and draw where they're located, as well as take pictures while they're trenching in the utilities, especially for things that are underground services, as in the future, if you need to work on them or have work done, this could definitely help the servicemen and any future owners if you decide to sell the property. So that's a basic layout of the process of finding out and installing utilities on a piece of land in Missouri. For more specific information, please follow our blog posts that are county by county information. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned and connected to Banna Properties for all your land needs.